Hello, my friends. Welcome on board again. Food recycling is extremely important. However, making this process sustainable from a financial, administrative, and human perspective is equally critical. Using available resources correctly and effectively is vital. And of course, controlling waste and managing cost are equally important. That's exactly what we are discussing today. Apply techniques to monitor resources usage, divide cost effectively, and reduce waste through optimal allocation. Let's get started. First, let's take a look to course overview today's topic. This course treats food waste not just an environmental issue, but as a strategic cost component that must be managed. Participants, you, will learn to monitor resource usage through advanced technologies like NIR sensors, blockchain, and AI. Visualize hidden costs using ISO 14051 standards and achieve financial efficiency by utilizing current tax incentives in Turkey. Learning objectives are technical monitoring, measure resources lost and the production line in real time using NIR sensors and devices. Cost allocations, weight waste as a negative product and calculate hidden operational cost using the IOSA techniques. Optimal allocation, achieve up to 30% waste reduction in logistic and production through linear programming LP. Regulatory compliance and incentives, and of course, strategic decision making, transforms risk into financial opportunities, etc. As an industrial psychologist and HR specialist, let me ask you this. What would you do if an employee threw 33% of their salary out of the window every day? You will probably put them on a performance improvement plan or send them for a psychological support, right? Yet, this is exactly what we do in our food system. 1/3 of all food produced globally goes to waste. This isn't just an engineering flaw. It's an institutionalization crisis. Today, we aren't just talking about food. We are talking about your company's profitability and your employees' search for meaning. Our strategic approach is to take waste out of the emotional what a pity narrative and turn it into a negative product cost that must be managed on the balance sheet. The skill of resources usage monitoring is not just a technical trait, but a new age leadership competency. Reducing this waste by 50% by year 2030 is not just a United Nations goal. It's an entrepreneurship test. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And if you can't manage it, you shouldn't be at the table. Jokes aside, our seriousness stems from the weight of a $1 trillion annual loss. If you are ready, let's dive into the psychology of efficiency. As an institutionalization consultant, I can tell you, legislation is the greatest trigger for change. The EU is no longer saying, please don't waste food. They are saying, if you waste it, you will pay for it. The Waste Framework Directive, updated in September 2025, has changed the rules of the business game. Our key concept here is the polluter pays principle. Previously, a business could treat waste as an external cost and dump it on the municipality. Now, under Extended Producer Responsibility, EPR, the bill for every single gram of that waste will be sent directly to your production line. From an HR perspective, waste manager position will become as critical as talent manager. Binding target of 30% for retail and 10% for manufacturing act is as financial stress test for your companies. Waste is no longer just an environmental stain. It's a parasite eating away at your profit margins. If you want to keep your CFO smiling, you must turn these legal mandates into entrepreneurial opportunities. Remember, compliance is not a cost, it's a resilience strategy. As an entrepreneurship trainer, I always say data is new oil, but in the food sector, data is the guarantee of freshness. I realize that human error accounts for 60% of food loss. This is where NIR, near infrared sensor, come in. Measuring protein and moisture instantly during intake is 1,000 times more reliable than a staff member saying it looks okay to me. As a technical skill, these sensors automate process calibration on the production line. Digitalization reduces the auditing burden on HR. Furthermore, using K-MetaShot application to detect biological risk is like performing a psychological checkup for food. Finding and isolating a batch with spoiling risk in seconds saves you from discarding the entire production. If you are still looking at crystal balls to see if the cold chain broke, the 2030 target are just a dream for you. IoT and AI are the new HR directors of operational efficiency. In institutionalization process, the hardest part is making hidden costs visible. ISO 14051 or MFCA is a revolution in this regard. Traditional accounting sees a discarded tomato only by its purchase price. But as an industrial psychologist, I see the labor to the hour spent and the gasoline burned by the truck that delivered it. In MFCI, we define waste as a negative product. When we divide production into quantity centers, we see where efficiency is leaking like on X-ray. The fact that the Japanese use this method to thin apple skins and increase efficiency by 20% is not a coincidence. It's engineering discipline. You must use the method to break the waste normal perception in your company. A factory manager who sees MFCA data will start saying, we aren't just throwing our trash, we are burning our money. This is a cultural transformation. Utilizing these losses, which traditional reporting hides as a financial lever, is the most concrete indicator of your institutional maturity level. As an expert in team dynamics and collaboration, I see logistics as a social network. How do you divide the cost when transporting products from 5 different suppliers in one truck? If you only look at the mileage, a fight will break out in that team. This is where the happy nucleus model saves us. Based on game theory, this algorithm disrupts cost so fair that every stakeholder remains happy staying in the system. This is the mathematical formula for corporate collaboration. Additionally, the ability to cope with uncertainties, the IMIP algorithm, is the heart of strategic planning. When market prices and waste volumes fluctuate, instead of saying, oh no, what do we do? You must trust the scenario trees provided by the algorithm. These techniques prevent cross-subsidization, where one person error is paid for by another. As an HR specialist, I say, unfair cost disruption creates not just financial loss, but a loss of trust among stakeholders. The justice of mathematics is the guarantee of sustainability. Performance management isn't just for white-collar workers. Machines and raw materials flows also need a performance scorecard. In a study at a milk processing facility, we used linear programming (LP) models. The results silenced even the most skeptical manager. By using only mathematics, we achieved a net 30% reduction in waste, and we did it without producing 1 liter less. Water consumption dropped by 18% and energy by 20%. The facility operational efficiency reached 97%. As a psychologist, imagine the impact of this success of employees' motivation. Saying we are the most efficiency facility in the world is more effective than any bonus. LP shows us that limited resources, meal time, budget, etc. are not obstacles but parameters for optimization. Engineering is not about profiting by using more, but by allocating what you have more intelligently. If there is a 30% gap in your operation, your competitors will fill it. While consulting, my favorite thing is to tell a client you have money to collect from the state. Turkey has an incredible world of financial incentives for food waste management, but no one uses them due to communications breakdown. G key 89/6 and what law article are your secret weapons. Instead of throwing a product with a short shelf life into the trash, if you donate it into a food bank, you can deduct 100% of the cost value from your taxes. This is keeping money in the company's pocket that would otherwise go to the bin. The Sıfır Atık Yönetmeliği, Zero Waste Regulation, is no longer as a choice. As of 2025-2026, it's a digital tracking mandate. Your HR teams must teach donation procedures as seriously as an OHS rule. An engineer who doesn't integrate waste disposal schemas with these incentives is throwing the company's profit into the street. As an entrepreneur who misses this doesn't just waste, they make a strategic mistake. In my entrepreneurship trainings, the first rule is follow the money. As proven by Champions 12.3 across 1,200 sites, reducing food waste is more guaranteed than winning the lottery. In restaurants, you get $14 back every $1 spent. In hotels, it's 7 to 1. This is a massive return on investment value. The social savings of 250.01 from the UK loves food hate waste campaign is not just an economic success, but a socio-psychological one. Where does the money come from? Just tomatoes? No, it comes from the discipline of staff training, the customer satisfaction from correct portion control, and the reduction of operational error. As an HR specialist, I tell you, an employee who fights waste takes more ownership of their work. This is the crowning of corporate culture within a zero-defect vision. If you can't convince your boss, show them these numbers. Numbers don't lie. Emotions only work when the tomatoes go bad. The most advanced stage of institutionalization is trusting smart systems. Look at the IKEA example. They saved 37 million euros thanks to Winnow Eye system. The smart camera recognizes what's going into the bin and says, "Hey chief, you prepared too many meatballs yesterday." This is the AI mentorship. Carefully use blockchain to bring traceability from farm to fork. When a problem occurs, instead of throwing away thousands of tons of good food out of fear, they use blockchain data to find and remove that faulty box. This is both reputation management and financial protection. West has turned that famous last day discount psychology onto algorithm in supermarkets. They reduced waste by 30% with a dynamic pricing. To aspiring entrepreneurs, the bigger the problem, the more valuable the solution. This success story shows us that digitalization is not a luxury. It's the antidote to waste. Integrate technology into your HR process so your employees can focus on creating value instead of counting trash. This is the nirvana point of creativity and entrepreneurship. we are deleting the word waste from our dictionary and replacing it with secondary raw material. Upcycling turns food system from linear to circular. Take proteins. They turn food waste into high-quality protein using black soldier fly larvae. This is industrial symbiosis. Toast ale produce beer from stale bread. If we can't eat bread, let's drink beer. Don't let Mary Antoinette hear that. Otan Studio is a source of pride from Turkey. They transform fruit peels into furniture. These circular business models decouple economic growth from consumption and link it to recovery. As an HR expert, I've noticed Gen Z employees love this project. There is no trash in nature, only resources waiting for their place. Our job is to find that new place. Psychological resilience and financial resilience are siblings. In food waste projects, uncertainty is the biggest risk factor that scares managers. To overcome their fear, we use the true cost accounting method, TCA. TCA tells us the tomato you waste is not just 10 Turkish liras with the 50 liters of water and 2 kilograms of carbon emissions spent for it. You are actually eating your future. The probability impact matrix we use when making decision is a strategic compass. If there is a probability of supply chain disruption, we immediately activate AI-supported alternative routes as Plan B. If there is a market volatility, we switch to dynamic pricing to prevent stock waste. You must analyze payback periods well in circular models. Will your investment return in 8 months or 45 months? This matrix shows you the real profit without greenwashing. A manager who cannot manage risk is just a leaf blowing in the wind. Arm yourself with data. Dear friends, we have reached the end of another stop on our institutionalization journey. Today, we saw that resources monitoring is a technical necessity and cost allocation is a tool for financial honesty. Without optimal allocation strategies, it is impossible to reach the 2030 targets. As an HR expert, my final word is sustainability is not a department name. It's a mindset shift. Use digital analytics tools in your companies. Put legal incentives in your pocket and place circular innovation at the heart of your corporate culture. Every morsel of food that goes to waste is a piece of your institutional future. Remember, when mathematics and psychology join hands, efficiency is inevitable. Don't waste the future. Turn every resource into a value add. Thank you for your patience and your belief in this technical transformation. Now, together, let's turn these mountains of waste into monuments of efficiency. I'm ready to see your project. Thank you.